Joining us now, New York Times chief White House correspondent and MSNBC political analyst Peter Baker. Help me explain why Republicans are pushing this bill, given the 2-to-1 ratio about people liking it or not liking it, given that impassioned speech you just heard from Thom Tillis. Why are they going through with this?
Well, look, obviously the tax cuts are a major focus for President Trump. He considers it to be his signature domestic priority. After having passed his first term, he has to keep it going for the second term, as he believes. In order to pay for it, they have to do some things that they don't, that aren't very popular, like cutting people off the Medicaid rules, like cutting people off of food stamps. These are things that Democrats think are going to come back to haunt Republicans. And some Republicans think that, too. That's why it's been such a hard road for Republicans to get to passage. They may get there, but if they do, there are a number of them who worry that this will, in fact, cost them in next year's midterm election. So we'll see. We'll see how this vote today turns out. 2 Republicans have already basically made clear they're not going to vote for it. It only takes 2 more to sink it, at least in this version.
What about the deficit, Peter? $3.3 trillion added in the Senate's version of the bill. That's more than the House's version. And you always have Republicans, a loud faction of them, coming out and saying they will not add to the deficit. There's a loud group in the House that wanted steeper cuts because they didn't want to add to the deficit. Help me understand why the deficit is now not a make or break issue.
Well, it is a make or break issue for some Republicans, and it may be enough Republicans to cause real obstacles to getting this through. You're right to say that the Senate bill adds more to the debt than even the House bill did. That was already scored or believed to estimated to be adding $2.4 trillion to the debt in the next 10 years. This, as you said, is $3.3 trillion. Now, some Republicans argue, well, it's really not that much because, in fact, you're counting the tax cuts in terms of the extension that had been passed in the first term in that extra debt. But if you really believe that these tax cuts were always intended to be permanent anyway, it's not really adding to what we expected to be part of the debt, given that. And there are some people who argue that economic growth will make up for some of these losses in tax revenues more than the professionals believe they will. But you're right that this is a big bump for a lot of Republicans who say they're fiscal hawks in order to get past it, to demonstrate their loyalty to President Trump.
All right, let's bring in Julie Surkin, our NBC News congressional correspondent. Julie, we've talked about Rand Paul, who's against this bill. We've obviously seen Senator Tillis, who is against this bill. There were concerns raised by Lisa Murkowski, by Josh Hawley, by Susan Collins, and a couple other senators. Any word from them about how they feel about it right now, especially Lisa Murkowski, because she is somebody they were trying to win her vote with by adding provisions to add Medicaid payments to Alaska and to Hawaii. But the parliamentarians said those provisions violate the rules, didn't make it through the bird bath. So she's not going to get that extra money as of now. Is she still going to be a yes on this bill?
Well, that's the big question, and we are looking for her throughout this entire building to see where she's at right now as they approach hour 5, actually, of this vote-a-rama. She's also trying to add, in addition to the Medicaid issues that you pointed out, a provision on solar and wind energy. Remember, as part of this bill, the House already put into motion the repeal, the phase-out of those credits, essentially federal subsidies, that allowed those businesses to begin to thrive here as part of the Inflation Reduction Act that was signed into law by President Biden. It's a bill that Republicans refer to as the Green New Deal, and that is why they're trying to get rid of this. But for somebody like Lisa Murkowski and other Republicans who come from energy-producing states, places where these projects have already gone off the ground in terms of solar and wind, this bill is going to hurt her state and those others just like it. The things that she's trying to add back in here actually gets rid of what's called an excise tax, which is something that they snuck in overnight, and we can't really figure out who is the reason for why this provision went into this bill. We can't get a straight answer, and that would actually put an additional tax on solar and wind companies that are based in the U.S. if they use products from China. Now, as you know, Katie, about 80% of the industry, that comes from China, especially when it comes to solar. So this is something that's going to have real practical impacts on so many businesses in the U.S. and something that we're certainly watching to see how Murkowski lands on that issue. Because, of course, as your guests have been talking about, the pressure from across Pennsylvania Avenue, from President Trump, will really put on full display which senators are finished running for re-election, are finished with the Senate, and which still want to come back to this building, because they're probably going to need to vote for this bill to do so.
That is such a good point, and we're going to explore that coming up in our next hour, that freedom that Thom Tillis is now experiencing and why others don't feel that same way. I want to ask you one more question, though, about the popularity of this bill. 2-1 against this bill publicly, Julie. The Wall Street Journal has an op-ed saying that the Republicans are handing this next election to the Democrats. What are they thinking? So, I mean, you can say, like, they don't want to be primaried by Donald Trump, but there might be some lawmakers who are going to get not primaried, but they're going to find themselves losing in a general election and handing over the majority in the House, I don't know, maybe even the Senate, to the Democrats in 2026.
That's absolutely a real fear. That is why we reported that Senator Thom Tillis, of course, before he announced that he wasn't running for re-election, he wanted to. Remember, at the end of last year, he already started fundraising. He was laying all the groundwork to run again. So this was really a surprise moment for us, and clearly one that he did not come to lightly. But he was telling his Republican colleagues, look, guys, if we include these Medicaid cuts in this bill, we're going to have a year in 2026 like Democrats had in 2014, where there was a blowout during the midterms. Of course, at that time, President Obama was in the White House, and this was right after their extremely rocky rollout of Obamacare the year prior. And of course, they paid the price at the ballot box. That's what Tillis compared this moment to on Medicaid. And so for those reasons, Tillis decided in a place like North Carolina, where Democrats have come close before, he's not going to go for it just to get primaried again and then eventually lose the general election, to your point, Katie. And this is the thought that's on the minds of so many moderates, not only in the Senate, but also in the House, where this bill will eventually go back to.
Oh, Julie Surkin, thank you so much. Peter Baker, always good to have you as well.